something. Does that ever happen to you? Like, you're in the middle of doing something and then your mind just goes completely blank. We're gonna be doing something. Oh, okay, yeah. This is how my brain actually works. Like, sometimes I just restart the video, but I didn't feel like doing it. So, you're getting the real me here. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna be reading from the book of useless information. It's full of facts and weird little knowledgeable things. I don't know. Yeah, I've been reading from it forever. I do it about once a month, and like we've just made it past half of the book, but we still have tons of it left. So I don't know what we're gonna do when it's over, though. I'm sure there's other types of books that are like that, so I'll have to find something similar. My husband got this for me for my birthday last year, I think, and it's lasted almost an entire year. Next month, it'll be an entire year, so, and it's still going. We're still going, so I'm not gonna have to look for another book anytime soon. But now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely do want to look for one. I bet there's some really cool ones out there too. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. I have no idea where we left off last time, but I always just like fold the little corner of the page. So, okay. Ship of Dreams. Oh, I wonder if we're going to be talking about the Titanic. Isn't the Titanic called the Ship of Dreams? I feel like Rose said that in the description when she was like, they called it the Ship of Dreams. Right? I feel like that. Anyway, okay. Alright, Ship of Dreams. It is the Titanic. I love the Titanic. Alright, I'll shut up about random stuff. Get to the useless information. Alright, each anchor chain link on the Titanic was about 175 pounds. Each anchor chain link. So those little, although on the Titanic I'm sure they weren't little, I'm sure they were like the size of this room or whatever, but 175 pounds per link. Yikes. I wonder how much the anchor weighed. Interesting. Okay, the Titanic had 4 engines. Yes. The Titanic's radio call sign was MGY. Why MGY? That's what bugs me about this book. I love this book, but it's like, what is MGY? Now I'm gonna have to go do my own research and find out what MGY is. It's like, yes, this is useless information, but it makes me want more. Okay, the Titanic was running at 22 knots when she hit the iceberg. 2 dogs were among the Titanic survivors. They must have been in first class, because you know the third class dogs all died. I hate the whole class thing. Like, that's so stupid. Okay, when the Titanic sunk, there were 7,500 pounds of ham on it. That is super useless information. Like, what? But also, see, it's like, okay, so there was 7,500 pounds of ham. What about chicken or turkey? Or did they have fish? Like, why is the ham significant enough to be in the book? was designed and printed by Benjamin Franklin for the American colonies. Okay, so there's an $8 bill that is in existence. Okay, if you have an $8 bill, is it actually worth $8, or is it worth way more because they're so rare? You know what I mean? Like, I've never even heard of an $8 bill. Now I'm gonna have to look it up so I can see what it looks like. Thanks a lot, book. Okay, during the American Revolution, many brides used to wear the color red instead of white as a symbol of rebellion. What? Okay. Morocco was the first country to recognize the United States in 1789. So, like, now I got questions. So, Morocco was like, okay, you're the United States, but, like, we're all the other countries and, you know, places around the world where they're like, okay, yeah, y'all are really a country. Like, you know what I mean? People were mean to us back in the day, I guess. John Hancock was the only one of 50 signatories. I'm assuming somebody who signed whatever of the Declaration of Independence who actually signed it in July. Okay, so John Hancock signed the Declaration of Independence in July, but nobody else did. Like, I thought that they were all, like, in a room just signing this declaration, but apparently they weren't. They just, like, what do? Send it to each other, or does everybody come at their own convenience and sign this? Like, in our history books, it shows the room full of people all signing the declaration. So, you can't trust history books because they lie. Okay, I just lost my spot. Alright, the first aerial photograph was taken from a balloon during the Civil War. Well, I want to see it. They should put pictures in here. Okay, the Civil War was the first war in which news from the front was published within hours of its occurrence. That's cool. Okay, Robert E. Lee of the Confederate Army remains the only person to date to have graduated from the West Point Military Academy without a single demerit. Wow. Like, how strict must this academy be for only one person to have ever graduated from it without getting in trouble at least once? You know what I mean? Like, that's gotta be a super strict school. Robert E. Lee wore size 4.5 shoe. What? Those have got to be like the tiniest little feet, especially for a man. Like, 4.5. My husband wears a 13, and they're the biggest feet I've ever seen. I can't imagine how small a 4.5 would be. That's crazy. Okay. All the officers in the Confederate Army were given copies of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo to carry with them at all times. Robert E. Lee, among others, only had 2 or fewer servants in the United States in 1900, census takers recorded the family as lower middle class. My gosh, how insulting. What? Okay. In 1954, boxers and wrestlers had to swear under oath they were not communist before they could compete in the state of Indiana. Who cares? Like, so what? What if you are a communist? Oh well, how is that going to affect your boxing? You know, like what? So stupid. Okay. In 1829, 2 sisters in the United States, Susan and Deborah, weighed 205 and 124 pounds, although they were only 5 and 3 years old, respectively. Wait a minute. In 1829, there was a 5-year-old that weighed 205 pounds, and there was a 3-year-old that weighed 124 pounds. How is that even physically possible? What? And that's all it says about it. I need more information. What? Okay, in 1900, the 3rd leading cause of death was diarrhea. You can die from diarrhea. What? That was the 3rd leading cause in 1900. What? Okay. In 1937, yeast sales reached $20 million a year in the United States. I guess a lot of people were making bread. I don't know. Okay. Before the 1800s, there was no separately designed shoes for right and left feet. I gotta see those shoes. Like, how uncomfortable would that be? I mean, maybe not so uncomfortable. I don't know. But whoever invented the properly fitting shoes, thank you. Okay. Any Russian man who wore a beard was required to pay a special tax during the time of Peter the Great. How dare you wear a beard? Ugh. What? Evidence of shoemaking exists as early as 10,000 BCE. In 1978, fashionable women of Paris never went out in blustery weather without a lightning rod attached to their hats. Like for cooking, yeah, okay. But I can't imagine olive oil like on my skin to like make me clean. Oh, no. Okay, pirates thought having an earring would improve their eyesight. What? Why? Why would having an earring make you see better? I don't get that. Okay. Welsh mercenary bowmen in the medieval period only wore one shoe at a time. Why? I have so many questions. I don't understand. Okay, until the Middle Ages, underwater divers near the Mediterranean coastline collected golden strands from the pin shell, which used the strands to hold itself in place. The strands were woven into luxury textile and made into ladies' gloves, so fine that a pair could be packed into an empty walnut shell. What is the purpose of that? I mean, I guess fancy rich people gotta find something to spend their money on, right? Okay, in Ethiopia, both males and females of the Surma tribes shave their heads as a mark of beauty. Okay, definitely keep you cool in the summer. Okay, the sinking of the German vessel Wilhelm Gustloff is the greatest sea disaster of all time. Approximately 8,000 people drowned. What? And it doesn't even say like what year that happened. But that's obviously worse than the Titanic. Obviously the Titanic got such publicity because it was the unsinkable ship that sank. But like, how has no one heard of this? I mean, maybe people have and I'm just dumb. That makes more sense, but still, like, I'm gonna have to research that because I want to know more. Okay, in the Great Fire of London in 1666, half of London was burned down, but only 6 people were injured. Well, that's good. I mean, half of London, that's terrible, but only 6 people were injured. I think that's pretty good. Okay, it says in the 19th century, the British Navy attempted to dispel the superstition that Friday was an unlikely day to embark on a ship. The keel of the new ship was laid on a Friday. She was named HMS Friday, commanded by a Captain Friday, and finally went to sea on a Friday. Neither the ship nor the crew was ever heard from again. Oh my god. They're like, it's totally fine. It's not bad luck. You know, Friday is not an unlucky day. Don't worry about it. We'll even get a captain named Friday. We'll leave on a Friday. Everything's gonna be cool. And then they were never heard of again. What? Maybe that's why, like, you know, Friday the 13th. I don't know. Because every other 13th, like Thursday the 13th, Saturday the 13th, not a creepy day, but Friday the 13th, you know something tricky's gonna happen that day. Something spooky. I mean, and this is proof, right? Like, this is not useless information. This is interesting situations going on here that I want to know more about. Okay, the Spanish Inquisition once condemned the entire Netherlands to death for heresy. What? See what I mean? We need more information. Okay, close to 700,000 landmines were dug up from the banks of the Suez Canal after the 1973 war between Egypt and Israel. 700,000 landmines. Yikes. The Nobel Prize was first awarded in 1901. It resulted from a late change in the will of Alfred Nobel, who did not want to be remembered after his death as a propagator of violence. He invented dynamite. Interesting. Wow. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Tsar Paul I banished soldiers to Siberia for marching out of step. Really? Really? Like what? Okay. Russian I.M. Shivtsov survived a 21,980 foot plunge out of a plane with no parachute. He landed on the steep side of a snow-covered mountain. Thank goodness. Almost 22,000 feet. He fell out of a plane. No parachute. And he lived. That is crazy. How long is this video? Alright, we'll read one more little page. Yeah. Okay. During the Middle Ages, few people were able to read or write. The clergy were virtually the only ones who could. During the Middle Ages, it was widely believed that men had one less rib than women. Isn't that like something from the Bible? I think so. This is because of the story in the Bible that Eve had been created out of Adam's rib. Yeah. Everyone believed in the Middle Ages, as Aristotle had, that the heart was the seat of intelligence. That's interesting. So, people thought that their smarty pantness comes from their heart. That's interesting. Okay, the actors in the first English play to be performed in America were arrested as acting was considered evil. Oh my gosh, my daughter, I have to tell her this fact. She's evil. She's a little actress, so that's so funny. Why was acting considered evil? That's stupid. Income tax was first introduced in England in 1799 by British Prime Minister William Pitt. We don't like William Pitt taking our money that we earned. What a jerk. Oh, Leif Erikson was the first European to set foot in North America in 1000 CE, not Columbus. So why first country to give women the vote in 1890. Cool. The first American in space was Alan B. Shepard Jr. Like, why don't we celebrate him? Because being the first American in space is no big deal, but being the first American to step foot on the moon is a big deal. The Wright brothers' first plane was called the Bird of Prey. Orville Wright was involved in the first aircraft accident. His passenger, a Frenchman, was killed.